The streets of Boston's North End, January 15, 1919, are bustling with daily life. A crisp winter morning, the sun reflects off the icy sidewalks. Children play in the streets, and workers begin their day. At the heart of the neighborhood looms a massive, dark steel tank filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses. It stands like a sleeping giant, dominating the skyline and casting long shadows over the surrounding buildings. Early that afternoon, a deep, groaning sound reverberates through the air. The residents pause, confused and concerned, as the noise grows louder. The giant tank shudders, its metal sides beginning to bulge. Without warning, the tank bursts apart with a deafening roar. Pieces of steel fly like shrapnel, and a tidal wave of molasses surges forth, cascading down the streets with unstoppable force. The molasses wave, 25 feet high, barrels through the neighborhood at 35 miles per hour. Buildings are crushed, wagons overturned, and people swept away in the sticky flood. The molasses begins to settle, but its thick, sticky nature makes it impossible for those trapped within it to move. Some struggle to stay above the surface, while others are quickly engulfed. Firefighters, police, and volunteers rush to the scene, fighting through the sticky morass to save those trapped. Horses, caught in the flood, neigh desperately as they struggle to break free. Some residents manage to find higher ground, climbing onto rooftops or clinging to debris. They shout for help as the molasses continues to spread, consuming everything in its path. As the wave subsides, the true extent of the devastation becomes clear. The streets are coated in a thick, dark syrup, with debris and bodies strewn throughout the area. The smell of molasses hangs heavily in the air. Workers armed with shovels and hoses begin the long process of cleaning up the mess. The cold weather causes the molasses to harden, making the task even more difficult. Amidst the cleanup, survivors share their harrowing tales. One woman recounts how she barely escaped her home, while another man tells of his desperate fight to save his family. As the shock wears off, fingers begin to point. The owners of the molasses tank come under scrutiny, accused of negligence. The tank was known to leak, but warnings were ignored. The ensuing legal battle becomes one of the most complex cases of the time. Survivors and families of the deceased demand justice, while the company argues that the disaster was unforeseeable. After a long trial, the court rules in favor of the plaintiffs. The company is found liable for the disaster and ordered to pay significant damages. The decision brings some closure to the victims. Years later, the Great Boston Molasses Flood is remembered as a strange and tragic event. The area is rebuilt, but the memories of that fateful day linger on in the stories passed down through generations.